Hey guys, what's going on? Eric here. A little bit ago, a few weeks ago actually, I had gotten a video request. Signed an INFJ doesn't want anything to do with you. It's actually really good. Really good question. And real quick before I dive into this, I want to, something I'm going to be doing in my videos going forward, something real excited about. Is Minute of Wisdom. I did a couple of those videos in the past. They were a little bit different. This time it's going to be straight out of Psalms and Proverbs. Proverbs, chapter 10, verse 26. As vinegar is to the teeth, and as smoke is to the eyes, so is a sluggard to them that sends him as an envoy. So guys, what that basically means, if you don't already understand the proverbial language of Proverbs, it's basically saying that if you're not going to be a hard worker, if you slack off, if you're not diligent, and your boss, your supervisor, your friend says, hey, can you go get this for me? Hey, can you go tell so-and-so I'll be there soon, etc. A sluggard is someone who doesn't want to work. They're lazy, they procrastinate, they spend their time sitting down. They're the type of people nowadays who would rather be 24 years old staying at home playing video games than working. So these are the types of people who struggle to even find the energy to do anything, and all they do is sit around. So as the vinegar is to the teeth, smoke is to the eye, so is a sluggard to the person who sends him as an envoy. Keep that in your mind and be careful not to send sluggards on your behalf just because you have trust in them, just because you have hope in them. I know us INFJs tend to do that pretty often. Something we tend to do is believe, hope, well, they'll come around, give them another chance, and another chance, and another chance, and another chance, and eventually we realize we end up biting the bullet for someone else. We probably shouldn't have given them chances. So be careful who you trust, be careful who you send out on your behalf, and keep in your close circle of people that you give tasks to. Alright guys, so I want to start off this video stating, as said earlier, that INFJs sometimes don't want anything to do with people, and there are signs to this. So what are those signs, you might ask? Proverb of the day that I shared with you, Minute of Wisdom here, it was directly tied into this topic, and I'm going to try to make that a consistent effort. INFJs give and give and give and try and hope, even with people we don't know. So when us INFJs do this, oftentimes to our own detriment, we don't really use our head, we use our heart whenever we're hoping, more often than not. And this is also the reason why INFJs decide they don't want anything to do with people. It's our heart. When an INFJ spends all of their energy hoping in one person, we look at it as, well, I've taken one step forward, why not take another? I've taken 2 steps, why would I stop now? That means it was all a waste of time. So we're so frustrated and a little bit proud, but more than that, we're really frustrated, and we just want that person to own up to what they're not doing and actually, by this point, give us what we deserve. After the 10th chance, after the 5th chance, we're like, all right, I've taken 5 steps in the same direction, no progress, no results on their end. What the heck? An INFJ starts getting into the habit of not wanting anything to do with that person. This is different than the door slam. The door slam is an ultimatum. This is genuinely disliking someone. So when an INFJ doesn't want anything to do with someone, it's because we genuinely dislike that person. It's no longer a matter of, are we going to be around them or not? It's no longer a matter of whether or not we like that person or want to be around them or give them another chance. If an INFJ gives you a chance, it's because they hope in you, and they like at least, usually more than this, but at least one thing about you. When an INFJ stops wanting anything to do with you, it's because they've lost interest in you as a person. INFJs are people persons. Grammatically, that's so blurred. I'm sorry. We are people who have an interest in humanity and in the person not the actions that the person does. However, the two go hand in hand. So when an INFJ loses interest in someone, it's because we genuinely dislike that person. You might say, okay, that's great for knowing people or dealing with people that you already have a connection with, but what about those you don't know? Exactly. Yes. Yes. When an INFJ does not know someone and they don't want to get to know that person, they already dislike that person. It's a matter of the heart for an INFJ, though. You need to understand that as those who are interested in people, if the people that we dislike give us a reason to dislike them, it is always linked to their interaction with humanity. My phone's about to die. I'm going to try to wrap this up. But it's always linked to their interaction with humanity. Here, I'll try plugging my phone in. That'll do it. This wire's very wonky, though. Alright. So with this being said, you have to understand two things. One, the INFJ who meets someone on the street or sees someone in the workplace and doesn't want anything to do with them has come to an intuitive understanding of that person that directly influences whether or not we want them in our lives. For example, mature INFJs are able to spot a toxic person simply by observing their body language and words. An unhealthy INFJ would try to befriend a toxic person out of hope for love from that person because they want closure, they want friendship, they want affirmation, and they want closeness. So they'd be willing to go to a toxic person and think, well, if that toxic person sees all the good I do and how much I care about them, surely they'll stop being toxic and I'll have achieved a very close confidant and best friend, not a sluggard, someone I can actually trust. Yes, that's possible. You're not wrong. But it is unlikely. Because for someone to stop being toxic means they need to understand that they have something to take responsibility for. And if they're willing to be toxic when you meet them, I don't think you suddenly appearing in their lives is going to change them. You have to think about this with a clear head, not with your heart. If someone has a lifestyle of using, gossiping, and genuinely not caring about people and humanity to the point where they would, without a second thought, be toxic around you and argue and dispute and quarrel and folly, why in the world do you think that just because you show a little bit of kindness to them that they're going to change and treat you differently? It's not realistic. Can it happen? Sure. Not likely. Here's why. 1 in 8 abuse victims become an abuser. Think about that for a moment. 1 in 8 abuse victims become an abuser. Where's the 8 abusers? That one abuser is not creating a world full of toxic people and abusers. Where are they all coming from? Think about this, seriously. If 1 in 8 people who are abused, so you have one abuser on the face of the earth, he abuses 2 people, 1 in 8, that means that statistically, neither one of those 2 people would become an abuser. So how in the world does it multiply the way that it does? One person might say with time. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. You'll find more toxic, abusive, and narcissistic people on the face of the earth than you will good people who are not toxic. Why, if only 1 in 8 people become that way? Here's the reason. They choose, in pride, not to own up to their mistakes and change. You can't change someone just by showing them a little kindness. They get kind acts all the time from people, but it doesn't change the way they treat them. It takes a willing heart. You can't make them love you. Why does an INFJ show disinterest in people? What are the signs? How do you know? And why does it happen? Well, the short version is we genuinely don't interact. We don't pursue, we don't chase, we don't talk. We hardly respond. If we have to respond, we will. And we'll try to leave your presence. If an INFJ does not want to be around you, if they will not talk to you, if they will not associate with you, if they don't give you the time of day, then they don't want anything to do with you. They don't like you as a person. You genuinely have turned us off to the idea of you being a part of our life. This can happen before you even meet an INFJ. And it's another reason INFJs go under the radar so often, is because not only are we introverts and not only are we uncertain about interacting with people, but the people we choose to interact with aren't always on the same page as us. I made a video about this somewhere. I don't remember where. I wish I did. I'm sorry. I'd have to go back and watch them all. Some of them anyway. But my point is, signs an INFJ doesn't want anything to do with you is that they genuinely avoid you. They make a conscious effort not to interact with you. You can apologize to an INFJ, but when it gets to this point, you're probably not getting more than one chance. Maybe two, and then you'll just end up becoming door slammed at that point. Or if you're not door slammed, they just won't try again. If you apologize and reconcile and be like, yo, I did this wrong, I'm sorry, I'm trying to fix it, the INFJ will be like, okay, cool, no problem, I love you. If you say, I'm trying to fix it, then do the same thing, I'm trying to fix it, then do the same thing, after the second or third, probably most likely the second time, the INFJ is going to have to say, I've had enough. I didn't really like you that much to begin with. I gave you a chance, and I really don't feel like giving you any more chances. It's a matter of the heart. The INFJ certainly has some areas they could work on when this happens. I personally do this sometimes. I acknowledge it. I try not to. I try to catch myself. If it happens, INFJs understand that there's a right and a wrong way to kind of go about this. Simply avoiding someone right off the bat before you even give them a chance to reconcile themselves to you and to their differences. Maybe they don't know they're doing it. Maybe they're angry. Maybe they just had a breakup. Maybe someone just put them down and insulted them and they have no outlet for that depression and it just turned to wrath. You know what I mean? You don't know. So give it some time. just don't shut anyone out without at least giving them a chance first. But if you do, make sure that you're doing it to protect yourself, not to hurt them. So, hope this video has been informative. I'll see you all next time.